All right, the next thing would be if you have power to the vacuum, everything tested out fine, it's running, but you don't have power to the power head. Okay, so it's going to probably be involved in one of two things, the hose or the power head. There is electrical current that runs through this hose all the way down to the head down here, which then ties into the power head on the floor. The first thing is this cable here should be plugged in right there. Okay, this one's still kind of new, so it's tight. If these get loose and start to wiggle out on the ladies, what you'll want to do is take a piece of electrical tape and just tape half of this. Don't go all the way around. If you go all the way around, it'd be too tight. You won't get it in there. But just do half of it. That gives it some friction. It also makes it a little bit tighter, and that'll hold it. If you get that back plugged in right and you turn it on, everything works, you're good. If it still doesn't work, okay, what I'll usually do at this point is I'll go down to the bottom here and test for power. So I'll take the meter, I'll put one on each side, and see what we got. You see I don't have it turned on right now, so I have no juice. So then I flip the switch, and that tells me that it's got circuit all the way through. Now if it does not, if you still have zero, you don't have any juice, there's two places it's the issue. It's either inside this or it's right up here in this. This cord goes bad because the ladies get it wrapped around, it gets peaked, and then these things start to break inside. Way to test that is you pull this out. Now this is tough. It's hard to get out. You've got to pull it. But if you pull it hard enough, I just wrap around and get up on it and pull it out. Okay, now this still is plugged in down here and it comes out to here. So if you turn the power on, we can see if you have juice in this. So the same thing, you just put the two of them in the holes and you turn it on. If you have power. I do have power. Okay, now if I did not have power with it unplugged from the hose, that tells me this cord is bad. So you just unplug it, throw it away, and you get a new cord, and you just push it into here like that, and then you push it in tight into here, and that fixes it. But let's say it's not that. So now you're going down and you come in to the power head and you still don't have power in the power head. Now what you do is you take this power head apart, and that's just using the drill driver, and you're going to take all these little screws out. And some of these break over time. All right, one more there. Should pull apart, and then it just pulls apart. That one's still tight. There we go. All right, and that comes off. Now inside of here, this is all the electrical that's inside of it. You have your switch up top here. You have a circuit board here. Then you have the hose coming in, which has conduit or conductors here. These coppers touch this circuit board, which goes to the switch. So if I take it all apart, you'll see here's the switch that turns it on and off. It runs out to this plug. So if you do not have juice here, this is where you can look. And there's usually only one thing that happens here. It's this circuit board. And this circuit board, if you just take it and look at the back, you'll see it might be fried. And that will kill it. So in that situation, you pull this thing out of here, which gets a little bit tight, and this is a whole part you can buy. You throw this part away, and you put a new one in. Rarely, if ever, is it the switch. I've only had that happen once, but it's almost always that circuit board. So then you would take this out and then replace it. And there are a couple key things here. As you put it back in, this has to be pushed in tight. Get that down in there. There we go. And then this, you have to make sure you're running around these pieces that stick up. I don't know if you can see that well, but you'll see them do it. So you don't get it pinched. And then it has a little clip here, which goes around the switch. And then you just kind of, that goes in this right up top here like that for the switch. Now the key part though is getting this hose. You don't want any of these pieces to fall off because these two copper pieces here have to meet up with these two copper pieces here. So when you put this back in, just make sure it goes back in its proper slot, that where you took it out, and it will fit right in there perfectly. And then this literally just sits over right in there lined up with that. But what I usually do is put this in first. You'll see there's a little rubber ring that goes around the edge of this. That has to fit in here to keep the air suction right. So you just make sure that it's properly put. If you pull it out too far, it won't fit. And then you just sit it in, and it does have its spots that it will line up in for you. So it should fit right in, back in the right spots. Sometimes that little rubber ring comes out, like I'm having right now. You just push it back in. If you have a problem with it, you can take a little screwdriver sometimes and just give it a little push. There we go, it's in. And then up top here, you see all that lines up there. Up top, this goes there, this little bubble piece of that lines right up in that. So everything fits in perfect. If you have to force anything, pop that again, push it in, then it's not set right, okay? So now the next thing is, see that goes in, fits right in there, touches there, that goes there. You take the top and you line it up. And then the key with this is back up here on this, let's slide you over to this side real quick. And you do this part here a little bit more. There we go. You just want to make sure everything is lined up right, and you just hold this in place and slide that over it so it lines up there. And it should snap right in place. If it doesn't snap, then you got a wire in the way or something like that. It should be all flush. And then you just tighten all your screws back down. The key is making sure everything is in its proper alignment in here, and this thing will fit with no problem. So, and this, it's always either this power cord circuit board thing, that's almost always what causes the issue with these. Now, I don't have a power head to show you how to diagnose that. If I can find one, I'll do a video on that one.